I'm Shiny. Now I am going to about the topic name is hash function. Let's start with the introduction. Hash function is a mathematical function that converts input data of any size into fixed value of called a hash value, hash code, or digest. That means if you have security case of history in this hash function, this hash function is used to means the algorithms for paste. If you have sent the message directly, but that times hack the other persons. Those if you this avoid the problems used to the hash functions. That means if you have send the message hello, hash functions means how to hash 8PLA9953 for anything value of hash functions. It is used to the computer science, database, cyber security, and data structures. That means the hash functions is used to the input data to convert into the fixed size value. If you have modify any data, if you change, then will change. Then that time change the output value of hash function will be changed. This has functions very important of computer science. Then you have used it to why are you all digest for digest. If you have maybe fail of sending message, the message converted has code, so has to digest that means a digest for encryption. The encryption, then you should do encryption algorithm, then find out the output. Next, how to hash functions works. How to works means the user provides input data, the hash function process the input. First you have send, the user provides input, that if you have user or application used to input the enter the data, then data can be has process the input. First we input the input value, it produces fixed length hashed value. Then used to algorithm, then the encryption value in the ASCII code, or NS means bit values in any value, binary values, XOR get values. These are the used values are used. The hash values represents the original data. The hash value represent the original data is based upon the based on the original data, then hash values. The hash function produces very different hash values when the input changes even slightly. That means if we have changed input data, then value changes hash value. So this process produces very different hash values. This is called as good hash functions. Properties of good hash functions. Deterministic, the properties of deterministic, fast, uniform distribution, low collision probability of one way. These are the properties of good hash function. Deterministic, same input always produces the same hash value. Deterministic means same input always same produce same hash value. Non-deterministic means same input always, but different same hash values. First, high hash value should be calculated efficiently. That means if you have this hash functions, this is faster and efficiently. It's easy to complicated, but faster. Then uniform distributor. Gases could be spread evenly. That means all data are even to give the values is as well is even. Next, low collision probability. That means collision means same hash value of input. That means collision. To find out the easy to collision, this is a this low level, high level, not low level of hash functions. High level hash functions means low collision probability. only for cryptographic as functions. It should be computationally difficult to recover the original input. For the original input. That means if you have converted digest the hash functions in difficult not recover. That means if you have the hash function, then don't have to recover the original data. That means the one way. If you have input the data and hash function and another hash function input direct in the if you have don't take it properly the original messages. Message collision. That means collision means a collision. What do you mean by collision? That for example, if you have two inputs, input A and input B, but same has functions 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5. These called as collisions. A collisions occurs when two different inputs produce the same hash value. Example, input A, input B. Since both inputs have same hash collisions are occurred, two hash functions are decided to minimize collision. Or put hash functions, you have put hash function and find out the minimum collisions. But if you bad the lowest hash function, so we find on big collisions. This called the minimized collisions. Plus result is decided to minimal collisions. Um, Types of hash functions. Non-cryptographic. There are two types: cryptographic hash functions, non-cryptographic hash functions. The non-cryptographic hash functions is used mainly for hash tables, databases, data indexing, data structures. These are the non-cryptographic hash functions. For example, murmur hash, XS. Those are the cryptographic hash functions means designed for security applications. For example, SKC 256 Nest SKC 3 or older algorithms such as MD5 and SKC 1 are no longer considered many cryptography uses. Cryptographic hash functions are two types: non-cryptographic hash functions and cryptographic hash functions. Non-cryptographic hash functions are used mainly for hash tables, hash database, data indexing, data structures. Cryptographic functions means for usually security purpose, SKC 256 and SKC 3. Applications. Hash functions are used in hash tables, password storage, file integrity, digital signature, blockchain technology, data duplication, caching. Hash tables, fast data searching, fast data hash table and used fast data searching, password storage. Password storage is stored in the password derived hashes rather than plain passwords. File integrity is checking whether files have been changed. Digital signatures, blockchain technology, data duplication, caching. If you have data, duplicate data is stored in the database and caching. Difference between hash functions versus encryption method. Generally one way hashing functions are used to generally one way functions. That means one way functions means if you only process, if you enter the data, if you find out the cancellation, no data repeated the original messages. That means hash functions. Encryption methods are used to the private key, public key based on the encryption method designed to reversible with the key. That means if you know that key details, you do that. If you have find the original messages. Hash functions are second point is produces a fixed digest. If you have big data, so you have send the input, but you have the 5 digits or 10 digits of the you have the produces a fixed hash value. But encryption means produces encrypted data. If you have encrypted digest file, if you have original message, you do understand the received the message. That means the encrypted data. Used to integrity and verification. Integrity and verification. That means that places are used for has been say integrity is verification based used for has been. Encryption methods are the confidentiality. Um, as in no decryption steps no decryption steps. Encryption means can be decrypted with the appropriate key based on the decrypted with the appropriate key. These are the consequences of encryption steps. For examples, suppose hash one produces hash C80 cat. If you deliver the input hash function value 2457, if we can change input value small letter of cat, then change the hash value A391. Even small changes in the input can produce a completely different hash value. So this is the put hash functions for very important of security purpose. Fast data advantages of hash functions is fast data lookup, then efficient data storage and retrieval, useful for verifying data integrity and support secure applications when strong cryptography algorithms are used. Fast data lookup for advantages that hash functions, fast data lookup, efficient data storage and retrieval, useful for verifying data integrity, support secure application when strong cryptography algorithms are used. Limitations for hash functions. Collisions are possible. Cache is not the same as encryptions. Collisions are possible. That means the same hash functions are produced because of collisions. Hashing is not the same as encryption. Hashing method are different to the encryption method. Weak hash algorithms can be attacked. Passwords should not be stored using a fast general purpose hash alone. Password specific constants such as are going to the decrypt or script or preferred. That means the hash functions convert in data into a fixed sites representation. It is a fundamental concept that is computer science. For if you can know, SKC 250 and SKC 3 are widely used in security applications. A hash function converts data into a fixed size representation. It is fundamental concept in computer science and is especially important for efficient searching, data integrity and cyber security. Strong cryptography has functions such as SKC 250 and SKC 3 are widely used in security applications. Once again, hash function is a mathematical function. It is the hash values is called as hash value, hash code and a digest. For example, follow hash values. Then how to work hash function. It provide the input data and produces the input. Hash function process the input. It produces a fixed length hash value. The hash value represent the original data. This is the how to work. Put hash functions determines the fast uniform distribution localization property. These are the properties of hash function. Collision collision, that means same different same value different input and but same same hash value is called as solution, but input A input B is same different data but same hash function. Hash value. Types of hash function: non-cryptographic hash function, cryptographic hash function. There are two types of hash functions. Applications: these are used to the application has stable password storage, file integrity, digital signature, blockchain technology, data duplication. The hash functions for encryption. Hashing encryption generally one-way hashing is designed to be reducible with the key produces a visitor-sized diest hashing function. Encryption side is produces encrypted data. Hashing method used for integrity and verification. Encryption method is used for confidentiality. No decryption step can be decrypted with the appropriate key. Simple assembly: cat 24567, and then cat small cat 8390. Even if small changes in the input can produce a completely different hash. Advantages: fast data lookup, efficient data storage, and decryption, useful for verifying data integrity. Thank you.